sounding the alarm on a taxi scam that takes both your debit card and your PIN number.
But I leaned in and I said, "You have my card, you put it in between your legs, I see it."
Toronto police say there's been a spike in scams where someone posing as a passenger asks to use your debit card in exchange for cash. We'll tell you what you can do to protect yourself. Plus,
let's put more transit in Etobicoke, in York, and in Scarborough.
I have the experience of working with the other governments, being a part of that partnership, and I want to finish the job.
we bring you scenes from the final mayoral debate before the municipal election, now just 1 week away. And
they're looking good, and I think we're going to be pretty successful.
we take you to the launch party for the third season for the Toronto Six, the women's team that's part of the Premier Hockey Federation. Good evening, I'm Farah Morali. Toronto police are warning people about a rise in taxi scams, people posing as cab drivers or stealing debit card information. This weekend, a Toronto woman almost fell victim to the scheme and took to social media to warn others. Greg Ross has the story.
So you steal money is what you do.
This video was posted to TikTok by Sasha Kilani. She says the person in that car tried to steal her banking information.
The first red flag was that he asked for my cards.
Kilani says she was walking home after grocery shopping yesterday afternoon when she was stopped by a teenage boy on Bay Street.
This young man, I think he was around 15, 16 years old, he stops me and he says, "Hey, I just got this taxi. He doesn't take cash, he only takes card."
She says the boy told her that the cab fare was under $10 and that he would pay her the cash if she used her debit card to pay the taxi driver.
My first thought is he's young, I have a young brother, and if someone is in a desperate situation, I would want someone to help me in that situation.
Kilani agreed to help out. She says the taxi driver took her card and swiped it in his machine. She then typed in her PIN number. When the driver handed back the card to her, she realized it actually wasn't hers. It had a different name on it.
I opened the door, I leaned in, I didn't get into the car, but I leaned in and I said, "You have my card, you put it in between your legs, I see it."
She says the driver did eventually hand the real card back to her. She says she still canceled it to ensure the scammers didn't get her money. Megan Honorado wasn't so lucky when the same thing happened to her back in the spring.
I didn't realize that there was anything wrong, and then later on that evening I was doing some online banking and noticed 3 separate transactions in my account that were not made by me.
Honorado says the purchases totaled about $1,400, which was eventually refunded by her bank. Both of these women posted their stories to social media, and in both cases dozens of people responded, claiming that they were also victims of the same kind of scam.
We've seen a pretty significant increase in this. They'll try to hit your limit as soon as they can, and they'll make purchases at various locations, and they will continue to use it until there's nothing left in the account.
Police say that you should never make payments for somebody that you don't know. And they say if you're going to use a debit or credit card to pay for a taxi, make sure it's a reputable company and that the driver has his identification on full display. Police also say you should always inspect your card when it's returned to you to make sure that it's yours. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Police are also warning people about a sharp increase in cryptocurrency scams.
The Toronto Police Service Coordinated Cyber Center has seen a drastic increase in the number of cyber-related scams over the past few years. Many of these scams involve cryptocurrency. In 2021 alone, the reported cryptocurrency losses in the City of Toronto was over $71 million.
Toronto police say cryptocurrency scams can include investments, phishing, and romance scams. They're reminding the public that credible institutions will not tell you to pay with cryptocurrency. It's urging the public to limit the amount of personal information they share on social media sites and not to click on links or attachments from suspicious emails or texts or messages on social media. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Well, the countdown is officially on to the municipal election. 1 week today, voters will head to the polls. Those in Toronto got one last chance to hear candidates for mayor sell their platforms and trade barbs. In the final debate, Municipal Affairs reporter Sean Jeffords has the details.
The candidates faced off in an event hosted by the Toronto Region Board of Trade. The second and final debate of Toronto's mayoral campaign focused on affordability, housing, and transit. Mayor John Tory took heat for his record, but defended his vision for the city. He told the audience that he deserves a third term because he's the only candidate with the experience to tackle the city's $857 million budget deficit.
The same partnership that got the transit deal is going to be what is necessary to move us forward in a number of these areas under discussion today. And I hope people will ask themselves the question, who do they think is going to be best to maintain the partnerships that are in place that have led to progress on housing, to the transit deal, and to the funding that is coming our way from those other governments?
But Tory's chief rival in the campaign, urbanist Gil Penalosa, slammed him for his lack of vision. He stressed that Tory has no excuse for what he said was a lack of accomplishment on a variety of issues, including building more affordable housing. Penalosa says Tory does not need the so-called strong mayor powers given to him by the province.
Mr. Tory has mentioned a couple of times the word powers. Toronto, the mayor of Toronto has not lacked powers, has lacked visions and action. Mr. Tory has won every single vote at City Council on anything that is meaningful to him in the last 8 years. Everything.
Candidate Chloe Brown criticized both Tory and Penalosa as being part of a larger problem with city government and not listening to residents. They farm out too much of the city's work to highly paid consultants, wasting finite city resources, she says.
This is why young people are leaving. There is no hope in the John Torys and the Gil Penalosas of the world because they only wear one hat. The rest of us have to wear 5 hats in order to do our jobs because they just hire people to do their jobs as consultants.
Environmentalist Sarah Klimenhaga says the city needs to reevaluate how it delivers services, right down to a review of its over 200,000 plus bylaws.
200,000 bylaws in the City of Toronto, around 40,000 employees. So each employee could spend their entire job enforcing 5 bylaws, and maybe we'd enforce them. So that's ridiculous, and that's why we have such a lack of clarity, such a lack of enforcement. So, I mean, let's start with that. Let's start with eliminating everything that's not necessary.
The debate came just days after the city's advanced polls closed, showing an almost 7% decrease in turnout from 2018. Election Day in Toronto is October 24th. Sean Jeffords, CBC News, Toronto.
Dahlia Ashray joins us now with a first look at the forecast. Dahlia was chatting with some family out west today. They were talking about the 17 degrees and sunny weather in Vancouver. I'm not sure it's actually fall out there, but it certainly did feel like fall here today.
That's right, Farah. I mean, out here in the GTA, it's below seasonal temperatures. Out west, a different case, above seasonal temperatures. So much different climate. We have chilly nights ahead, some damp conditions on the way, and some cloudy and breezy conditions as well. The daytime high in Toronto today, 10 degrees. Usually the daytime high this time of year is 13 degrees, so we're sitting below the seasonal temperatures, and we'll see more of that throughout the week. Sarnia, a little bit cooler out there as well, 9 degrees, and in Kingston, 11 degrees. Now, there is that Arctic air that's moving through across the province, and that's what's giving us those cooler temperatures, those strong winds that we're going to be experiencing over the next few days, along with the rain, which we'll talk about later. But first, let's just get into the windy conditions. Tonight, we will be seeing winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour as we head into tomorrow morning, 30 kilometers an hour. And over the next few days, winds will be gusting around 40 kilometers an hour. And then tonight, temperatures will drop to 4 degrees, a bit of a damp one, especially as we head into tomorrow on your commute to work. You're going to see more of those damp conditions, 8 degrees for the daytime high tomorrow. So still sitting with those single digits below seasonal temperatures. So make sure you have a sweater and an umbrella tomorrow, along with those windy conditions. Winds will be gusting up to 26 kilometers an hour.
Thank you, Dahlia. Well, starting today, those 12 and older in this province can now receive an Omicron-targeted COVID-19 vaccine. Today, Minister of Long-Term Care Paul Calandra was at a facility in Toronto, encouraging more Ontarians to get their booster.
As we approach the fall respiratory season, and I know Minister Cho will do the same thing, encourage all Ontarians. Now is the time to renew your vaccines. Get the booster shot. Help protect yourself. Help protect your family, and let us continue to make significant progress as we battle COVID.
Health officials recently saw a rise in COVID cases and hospitalizations in Ontario, along with outbreaks in long-term care homes. Booster bivalent vaccines have been available for long-term care residents since early September. The vaccine targets both the original strain of COVID-19 and the Omicron subvariants. Those who are eligible can book an appointment through the province's vaccine portal. The union representing more than 50,000 education support workers in Ontario will legally be allowed to go on strike early next month. That news comes as it enters mediation talks with the government and Council of Trustees Association. Clara Pasica has that story.
As children headed into Church Street Junior Public School this morning, CUPE, the union representing education workers like custodians and education assistants, were heading into mediation with the government side, all in the hope of avoiding a strike that both the union and the government side both insist they don't want. Neither do any of the parents we spoke to.
I sincerely hope that there could be some agreement between our government and our education staff.
At the end of the day, it's the parents, the caretakers, and the kids get affected. So there's tension there between the union and the government. I really don't want to see this happening this year.
But after weeks of talks, the two sides are still far apart. That's why they've brought in William Kaplan, a mediator that helped the two sides reach an agreement back in 2019. The government side is offering what it's calling a fair wage increase, 2% a year for those making less than $40,000 and 1.25% for all other workers. But CUPE says with many workers making just $39,000 a year, that just won't cut it. The union is seeking annual increases of $3.25 an hour. The families we spoke to think these workers deserve the better pay.
That's a ridiculously low amount of money to be working for at this time. Looking at the current situation in the markets, they should consider it.
The union was granted a no-board report earlier today, something it requested this month, saying negotiations seem to be at an impasse. It means the union will be in a legal strike position in just 17 days. The official opposition says when it comes to wages, the government needs to offer workers a better deal.
The clock is ticking for the government to come to the table and settle this without a strike, but it's looked for the past few months like Stephen Lecce and Doug Ford are absolutely determined that they want to strike.
The minister declined an interview today, but told CBC Toronto in a statement, "We hope that CUPE will bring forward reasonable requests that focus on students staying in class." CUPE has not indicated if education workers would engage in a full strike or take another course of action if a deal is not agreed upon. There are still more days of talks scheduled for this week that could avert the strike possibility altogether if a deal is reached. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
Tonight, Toronto's only professional women's hockey team looked ahead to the upcoming season, the launch party at the Hockey Hall of Fame. The Toronto Six is part of the Premier Hockey Federation, formerly known as the National Women's Hockey League. Team staff and players say they're excited to see more support for the league, but say there's still a long way to go when it comes to equity with their male counterparts. Tyler Cheese has that story for us.
Eastwood with a chance, and she scores! The first goal in Toronto 6 history goes to Lindsay Eastwood.
A milestone achieved in January 2021 continues to make hockey history tonight.
Oh, it's incredible. This is super cool for me.
Lindsay Eastwood's game-winning puck and hockey stick are now officially inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
This is a super exciting moment, and the fact that I get to share with our teammates, our team, and hand it over on behalf of the team was really special.
Teammate Brooke Boquist also has a reason to celebrate. Her jersey from the team's inaugural season 2 years ago has been inducted as well.
It's truly an honor. I have no other words to express it.
The team announced its full roster for the 2022-2023 season tonight. And while the excitement in the room is palpable, there are those who feel women's hockey still deserves some more recognition.
The wage gap between men's and women's is still far off, but we're getting there. And the more we have sponsors that believe in our game and our product, the more that we can then get the TV rights and things like that.
In January, the Premier Hockey Federation more than doubled the salary cap of each team in the league to $750,000. Team staff say this puts women's hockey on par with men's lacrosse and the CFL, but it's still a long way from NHL salaries. They say there's one sure way to help close that gap.
Show up to the games, obviously, and support the women. Maybe 10 years, 15 years down the road, maybe we will get the salaries up there compared to the men, and that's the goal.
As for the players themselves, they say they're ready to hit the ice.
We've got an awesome squad here on and off the ice, so I'm looking forward to see what we can do and hopefully take home the Isabel Cup.
The Toronto Six open their season on home ice against the Minnesota Whitecaps on November 5th. Tyler Cheese, CBC.
Welcome back. A mega warehouse set to be built near a residential neighborhood is now becoming an election issue in Oakville. People living near the site say they're worried about pollution, noise, congestion, and safety. Angelina King explains.
A massive warehouse is set to be built here on 70 acres of land, adjacent to Randy Rutherford's home, where he's been living for more than 20 years.
I'm kind of frustrated.
The project's plan includes 5 buildings totaling more than 120,000 square meters with more than 226 loading bays. It's expected to be among the largest warehouses in Canada.
There's insufficient infrastructure and mitigation of noise and pollution for a mega warehouse development of this size right by our homes.
Des Brown says his backyard is less than 150 meters from the site.
You would hope that something of this scale and intensity would at least be a minimum a kilometer, maybe 2 kilometers away.
Residents say they don't want the project to be canceled. They're not anti-development. They just want things scaled back a little bit so there's less of an impact on their daily lives.
We're concerned that there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of pollution, a lot of disruption.
Residents say a smaller operation would mean less pollution and noise. Residents say they'd like to see wider roads and sidewalks installed to accommodate the truck traffic and keep people safe. Mayoral candidate Julia Hanna says the town has a responsibility to the residents.
This will determine whether they have faith in their leaders to ensure that they're not giving up their quality of life.
Incumbent Rob Burton says the town has already put in place the strictest site plan conditions in its history.
The applicants literally cannot get a building permit until and unless independent third-party peer review shows that there is no harm to the residents.
The town of Oakville says landscaping and berms are and will be put in place to address noise, and that the final approval will not be granted until the traffic and noise reports address outstanding concerns and any necessary mitigation measures are satisfactory to the town and its peer reviewer. Construction could still be a ways away. The town says the developers have 2 years to satisfy the conditions of the approval and another 2 years to get a building permit. Angelina King, CBC News, Oakville.
You are looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline on this Monday night. Partly cloudy right now with more showers on the way. Right now it's about 5 degrees downtown. Let's go back to Dahlia now with a look at your extended forecast. Dahlia, you were talking earlier about that breezy, wet, autumn-like start to the week. Will those conditions stick around?
Well, for those of us that like the rain, Farah, I do have some news. Yes, there will be some more rain on the way. And for those of us that don't like the cooler temperatures, I'm sorry to break it to you, but some cooler nights and days ahead as well. So you're going to need your umbrella over the next few days. The daytime high in Toronto today, 10 degrees. A little cooler out in Barrie, 9 degrees, in Kitchener, 8 degrees. So there is a low pressure system that's moving in across the province along with that Arctic air. So the low pressure system is what gives us those cloudy conditions, the rain, and then the Arctic air is what gives us the cooler conditions, along with the we had the strong winds as well. So that's what we're really keeping an eye on for this week, and that's what's bringing us those below seasonal temperatures over the next few days. So speaking of the rain, there we have it, all that green right there. That's the precipitation that we should be expecting, especially as we head into tomorrow. Some scattered showers throughout the day at around noon and on your commute to work. And then even near southwestern Ontario, near London and Goderich, there is a mixture of snow, yes, I'm saying the S word, and some rain as well. We won't be seeing that in Toronto, except Wednesday at around 2 a.m. We're going to see some scattered showers again. And then on Wednesday morning and throughout the afternoon, the rain is really going to pick up, especially throughout the rest of the day. Again, we're seeing a mixture of flurries, snow, and rain. Southwestern Ontario and some parts of northeastern Ontario. Tonight, temperatures will drop to 4 degrees. No snow across the Golden Horseshoe. Some heavy rain near the Niagara region. Some cooler temperatures in Hamilton, 3 degrees. And that will carry on over to tomorrow morning. Some scattered showers throughout the afternoon as well. Wednesday and Thursday it picks up and back down to those single digits for the daytime high. And the trending here conditions overnight are those low single digits. So really cold over the next few evenings. And then on Saturday, finally, there is that light at the end of the tunnel, some sunshine. Farah?
Looking forward to that, Dahlia. Tonight, it's one of the most significant festivals in Indian culture. Diwali, also known as the Festival of Light, is celebrated by Sikhs, Hindus, and Jains around the world. After struggling to find Diwali greeting cards here, a Brampton woman has now started her very own line in hopes of spreading the joy of the festival with loved ones. Take a look.
Started off as a family project,
The kids got involved. Everyone was home for those 2 years, so it was really for our family. We couldn't find any Diwali card on the market, which was very surprising for us. I remember just saying to my husband, like, I can't believe this. It's so many South Asian people and there's nothing. And that's where the idea kind of came that, okay, if there's Christmas cards everywhere, then maybe we should have Diwali cards. We started designing and creating, and then about 6 months later, we had started Mubarak cards. Feathers is a very South Asian type of design. Even our birthday cards, you'll see paisleys at the back. The response, when we started, the response is what blew me away. On Instagram, most small businesses have followings of about 1,000 people. We grew to 10,000 very quickly. So this is our romantic collection. Kuch Kuch Hota is a very famous movie. So when I see you, Kuch Kuch Hota, it means when I see you, I feel right. I feel something. John is basically a loving word to my life. It's one that has been like a huge success. So we started making Diwali gift packages. People are loving having everything put together for them and ready to go. What's really special about our South Asian culture is we actually do have a title for everything. Your mom's younger sister, your mom's older sister, your dad's younger brother is different from your dad's older brother. To actually be able to give someone a card that has the name that you call them was, I think, the most special thing that people really grabbed onto.
Well, happy Diwali for those celebrating next week. That is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Farah Morali. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. Have a great night.